Time to get some common sense now from Craig Bolanos, the CEO and founder of Wealth Management Group. Good to see you there, Craig. And the stock market has been trading in bear market territory. This is a time when some investors can make mistakes by maybe getting out too soon or getting back in too early. What are your tips for avoiding common mistakes, Craig?
Certainly, it's been a difficult year for investors, whether that's real estate, fixed income, equities, everything combined. It's been tough sledding on the back of geopolitical risks, but ultimately, this has been a discussion about inflation and interest rates, aka Federal Reserve tightening. So what is it that we can do during environments like this? Well, I think it's simple. We have to control what we can control. And the first thing would be this: from a planning perspective, everybody needs to make sure that they have an emergency fund. At the Wealth Management Group, we don't feel that we're going into an imminent recession. Certainly not with 428,000 jobs in the month of April and another 390,000 in the month of May. But it's important that people have a cash reserve, whether they're working or in retirement. Number two on our list, absolutely, panic is never a strategy. I think one of the largest risks in today's marketplace is whipsaw risk. Think of how many people went ahead and made large portfolio moves at the bottom in May, only to see themselves get whipsawed significantly. We've already had some significant drops, but some significant pops this year. We think in 2022, investors need to invest through it because there are green shoots that might be ahead. And part of the way you invest through things is by having the right asset allocation. And remember, the only free lunch when it comes to investing is being diversified. And certainly this year, it feels like diversification has landed people in the penalty box, with most assets not producing any positive returns. But ultimately, it's going to be that allocation and diversification that will still see people through.
What's your overall outlook for the market?
Well, our outlook is always going to be exactly this. It's going to be data dependent. It's going to be data driven, because it's data that leads us to the probabilities as to making decisions based on sentiment, because sentiment or emotion leads to possibilities. So let's take a look at what we consider to be the three key ingredients to feel more comfortable that maybe a bottom has formed or that we're at the foothills of such. Number one, we need to see China, we need to see Shanghai reopen. And over the last 2 weeks, we've had some good news that this may in fact be happening, and that is clearly going to help the supply chain. Part number two, we have to start seeing inflation come down. We're not kidding ourselves. Inflation's not getting back to the Fed's long-term target of 2 to 3%, but we did over the last 2 weeks make some progress on this challenge with PCE, personal consumption expenditure, ticking lower for the first time in quite some time. Will there be a follow-up act? We think there is, in fact, going to be a follow-up act in PCE. And then number three, we would want to see some level of stability relative to this geopolitical tensions. And specifically, I'm talking about Ukraine and Russia, but there's been zero progress made on that. We don't need to have an armistice. We just need to have the market start to believe that it's not going to get any worse, aka we need to get towards a stalemate. Those are three things that I think investors can be looking at, in addition to a whole host of technical indicators. But is the glass half empty? Is the glass half full? Again, I think if you look at the data, we're working into a period of a mid-cycle slowdown. We have had a growth scare, but again, recessions don't often start by putting up 390,000 new jobs. So I have to think the second half of the year, if history's any guide, and it's the only guide we have, we're going to make forward progress in recovering losses that have happened in equities thus far in 2022. I'm Craig Bolanos, the CEO and founder of Wealth Management Group. If you'd like to learn more, you can. Check us out on the web, investwithwmg.com.
Go to businessfirstam.com for where to see our show on TV.